What do you make of his speech the other day, his address extempore to the country? I saw your tweet, so
I must say that it's only... Yes, Anand, I must say that it's only India who had the perseverance and the tolerance to listen to the entire speech. I can tell you that I listened to 2 minutes of the speech or less, perhaps. And it was just through tweets that we were finding out what was being said. And I think a local Pakistani channel, Geo Television, has really given the best summary. It was just, more than 100 times he said me, and other variations of me. And of course, repeated his name I think more than a dozen times his name was repeated. So I think we can give him that, because I don't think his name is going to be repeated as much. I don't think he's going to get much coverage after tonight. And as I say in Pakistan, inshallah, this will be the end of this constant droning. I would say there was more of the same. So it was repetitive, it was boring. It was also very dangerous. I think he's playing a very dangerous game. All of this nonsense about conspiracy, his delusional stance of becoming a Zulfikar Ali Bhutto only fools himself. He's only deceiving himself. He has a handful of followers left, very, very reluctantly. His own ministers, I know for a fact, are having to reluctantly drum up some support. A dangerous game that he wants to play tomorrow morning when the vote is going to be counted, and he's facing a crushing defeat. And I think he just wants to make a little bit more of a noise outside the parliament. Incredibly irresponsible of him to put his vested interests, when our national interest is at stake. This is extremely obnoxious and abominable, I would say, and extremely immature. But what do you expect from the Ladla? It's a toddler's tantrums. And I think those who have brought him in are going to have to deal with it. It's not our problem. And I think that the sooner we say goodbye to this, riddance, the better for us. So incidentally, it happens to be on my birthday. So I think I get a double whoppee. We have the Chief Minister of Clubs vote being taken tomorrow as well. And we are very, very confident to see Hamza Shehbaz, the son of the incoming Premier, Shehbaz Sharif. So I think it's a celebration all around. Also the first fast Ramadan Kareem for Pakistan as well. So I think it's going to be a very special Ramadan Kareem, and perhaps Eid even before the onset of Ramadan.
I must say, Ramadan greetings, advance happy birthday or birthday greetings to you. It's also the new year as per the Hindu calendar or the Hindu Samvat. So this is the new year. So it all talks about new beginnings and happy beginnings. But going back to that speech, and Imran Khan said that Pakistan has become worse. Pakistan, I have seen Pakistan come down. And I saw your response. You said, yes, Imran, I agree with you that Pakistan was great much before you. What is it that he has done? Has he run the country aground?
I think the only contribution that Imran has made to Pakistan is that he has introduced a deplorable culture of abuse and of outright swearing. I think this is what is deplorable, and this is what he'll be remembered for. He's also brought in a culture of extreme sexism. I think the way his language has been about women and women's clothing, this wasn't helpful in Pakistan's, setup. In our landscape, women are struggling. I mean, while I'm sitting here, there are two young ladies who are struggling in a very male-dominated patriarchal society. And today, the event that I've to bring their daughters and their sisters and their women out, because we need more political engagement of women. We need more political lobbying for women. We need safer environments for women in a time like this, where we have people like myself who's taken a very, very bold stance and taken it, taken all the opponents and the army, the henchmen and the mouthpieces head on. I think it's unhelpful for a role model of light-hearted fashion, I would say. In a light-hearted fashion, I'd add to this that Imran, if anything, has made us so fearful of people like himself that I think in the last 4 years, he's not only, taken the masks off everyone, he's really helped this democratic process with the Pakistan People's Party for the first time communicating with MQM in Karachi and with the Jamaat-e-Islami, with a power sharing deal between the Pakistan People's Party and the PMLN, with Asif Ali Zardari naming Shehbaz Sharif as his premier, with even Maulana Fazl Rahman. I think we have seen him, and I've said this personally to him, that this is the finest innings. This is the best innings of his lifetime. We're seeing him in the role that I, for a very long time, thought was meant for him. Foreign diplomacy, he's really been crucial in resolving some issues on the border with Afghan and with the Afghan-Pakistan border. I'm privy to that information. He's played the role of a senior, a musher, as we say in Pashtun culture. And I think Imran can be given the credit for helping us push the establishment or the military back to the barracks and bringing us all together. So if anything, I think he scared us so much for our viability as political activists, as politicians, as political leaders, and for the political stability of not only Pakistan, but for the region. But, good riddance to bad rubbish, I say.
Well, you've been very strong. But was Imran Khan always like this? Many believe that he's actually swung the other way, that he's become really fundamentalist in his approach, very, like you said, anti-women, and very, very anathema to who he was during his playing days. Was Imran Khan always like this? You said he's failed both at the home and also at running the country. So let me ask you that.
I think, Anand, was Imran always a hypocrite? Yes, the answer is he's always been a hypocrite. Has he always taken any image that suits his career's feasibility? So, I mean, for Carrie Pecker, he was happy to don on a very different image. He was happy to take off a lot of clothes, and today, where he has to promote a certain image for viability in politics, using the religion card shamelessly.
So you were saying, yes, Imran had no legacy and he's leaving no legacy. So please continue. We just lost you there. Go ahead, please.
Yes, and I think he had no intention of leaving a legacy. So was Imran always the Imran that we see today? I believe so, because if you go back to his cricketing career as well, I mean, he doesn't want to share the limelight. He doesn't want to share the credit. It's me, me, me. It was me, me, me during the World Cup '92 speech. So the Imran that you saw a couple of nights ago, was it last night? I mean, was exactly the same Imran. He's been self-centered. He believes in self-promotion. He's done nothing to promote a structure in the party. And those were our differences. Our differences were the fact that he has always been a fascist. He's always been dictatorial. It's always been about himself. He doesn't see further than, beyond his nose. It's all about himself. So while it was the cricketing career, you saw what he did to Majid Barki. He couldn't share the limelight with even Javed Miandad. This culture of ridiculing anyone and everyone who attempts to take his space, even when there's somebody handling the other side of the crease on the other end, he just didn't have that generosity of spirit, and of course never had a sportsman spirit either. So I think he should really be showing sportsman spirit today. The fact that they're starting all of this, it's laughable, but the sort of propaganda that his media mouthpieces are creating at the moment, that everyone is up against him, everyone is a thief, everyone is a godfather, everyone is the mafia except him, everyone is a traitor, even the military who brought him in. Some of his very, very close mouthpieces in media are actually starting to not only curse like he is, but also, starting a very dangerous game of a conspiracy against the military, the civil military to create, which I hope will be defeated, is again a very selfish thing to do. This is not behavior that suits a statesman. It's not befitting of an outgoing prime minister. I mean, this is the man who said, "I'd resign if something went wrong on the railway tracks." But here we have I think we're going to see close to 200 people voting against him. Don't forget, this is his own party. Not only the coalition members, but his own party. PTI wants Imran out. PTI in parliament do not have confidence in their so-called leader. And then it's the coalition partners who say that he cannot give us respect. Of course, the opposition has their numbers stacked up against him also. But I think it's their own people who do not have confidence in him. Of course, his wives do not have confidence in him. I mean, the whole narrative of him defying the West. I mean, the West created him. Has he forgotten that his wives, his girlfriends, his career has been in the West? His children are Western, for God's sake. So what is he talking about? Maghrib ka londa, Maghrib ke khilaf. It would be funny if it wasn't this tragic.
But, you also said that he's selected. So from being everyone's choice, selected, in the last 3.5 years, what's gone so wrong that members within his own party, those who championed him as the harbinger of Naya Pakistan, today are turning around and saying, we don't trust him. We've got no confidence in Imran Khan.
Because I think essentially it is selfishness. I mean, I'm a huge believer. I've had a lot of criticism from people saying that, you shouldn't really discuss someone's personal life.
He came after you too.
But of course, I mean, even while I was his wife, I mean, he doesn't really have a sense of how to maintain or sustain a relationship, be it with a friend, be it with a family member, be it with a wife, be it with his children. I mean, in the last 3.5 years, was it Mia Mohammad Nawaz Sharif or Shehbaz Sharif who prevented him having an active relationship with his own children? No, of course it wasn't. So, this man is about himself. I mean, this is the sort of man who doesn't turn up to his close friends or family members' funerals. This is a man who uses people until he doesn't need them anymore, until there is no use left. So I think that a personal life of someone has a huge impact on their professional life as well. If, for example, I am not coping with pressure within my own family structure or with my own responsibility, if I'm not responsible as a parent towards my children, if I'm not responsible towards my parents, if I'm not responsible towards my staff, if I am not a responsible person in my immediate circle and my office, how can I take the responsibility of 22 million people and of course the region? So, a lot of people criticize me for being an ex-wife. I'm not an ex-wife. I am criticizing a man who is ruling, sadly, a country that I am in love with. I love this land. I belong to this land. I feel that all of his decisions do not only have an impact on Pakistan, but on Afghanistan, on India, on Iran, on Turkey, with Saudi Arabia. I mean, he's talking about America and American conspiracy. The biggest conspiracy against Pakistan is Imran. The biggest conspiracy against Imran is and his own undoing by himself. I honestly cannot think of one good thing that he has done. He has not really thought about other people. All he has thought about is his sherwani. All he's thought about is sticking to this chair. He has brought in this vindictive culture. It's the bureaucrats, the police that he has demoralized. They're not only political leaders who are celebrating today. And personally, people say that you must be very happy today. But I think that it is actually sad. It is actually sad for a man who not only Pakistan has invested so much hope in, but the fact that this man, a lot of Westerners, a lot of liberals had hopes attached to him.
Yes.
A lot of Indians had hopes attached to him. And I think in true Imran mode, I would blame India. I would blame India for helping in creating this demigod image, helping create the celebrity diva status that he just can't get enough of. He has never stopped being a diva and a celebrity. And, even SRK has to invest. Look at him at this age. He's building up his body. He's investing back into his performance. He says that my daughter has to go back to theater. You cannot perform on a cricket field or on a Bollywood screen without investing in your own self first. But Imran has done nothing of the sort. In fact, if anything, With time, he has lost vision. He's lost sight. He can't see the mafia sitting right and left to him.
My question is, what is he planning to do come Sunday? Because there's something that is very, very devious that's being planned, Reham, and you've also flagged this off, saying what's going to happen is civic unrest, and what's going to happen is that they want Pakistan to burn. And this seems to be very devious, and that's a very serious charge that you make. So one of my final questions to you. Yes, Reham.
Absolutely. Not only is devious, not only is it irresponsible, it is extremely dangerous. You see, for the past couple of weeks, I know for a fact, because I deal with traffic data, I deal with the local district management group, I have close affiliations with the police. And, you know, Pakistan does not need the stress. Pakistan cannot deal with this stress fighting terrorism. The terror alert and the terror threat is like never before. I mean, we have bomb blasts going off in Lahore, in residential posh societies. Can the federal capital deal with the menace that Imran has created? And we've dealt with it since 2014. I think it's high time that he acted his age for once. I think that graceful is not something that we equate with him, but I think that he is being hated by the minute because our police in the federal capital cannot cope with the extra stress that he promises to bring tomorrow. We've had, you know, audio leaks from his chief minister in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. We've had alleged audio leaks from his environment minister, you know, the lady who loves his killer smile. But, you know, they are playing a very, very dangerous game. It's an extremely selfish thing to do. They've used our youth and they've used Khyber Pakhtunkhwa before. But for the vote to go ahead, this is according to parliamentary norms. This narrative that they're building, that all the thieves and all the dacoits have stacked up against him. If it was Imran bringing a no confidence motion against a Nawaz Sharif or a Bilawal Bhutto or a Benazir Bhutto or a Shehbaz Sharif, the propaganda would be completely different. This is a democratic process. This is a parliamentary process. It should be done in a very respectful, respectable parliamentary fashion in the parliament. We do not expect him to show maturity, but I think this is the least he can do. And I urge the Interior Minister, who already I think is looking at a rather bleak future and has given a hint that he might not be the Interior Minister past midnight. So I think if he is going to, seek redemption, I think this is the chance for the Interior Minister to make sure not to allow any violence, any chaotic scenes outside the Parliament, to facilitate a peaceful vote of no confidence, not only in the federal capital, but also in Punjab. In Punjab today, they have already banned the entry of journalists to the Punjab Assembly. And, you know, this is going to raise suspicions. I think this is going to raise suspicions about alleged rigging, and we cannot afford that. I think this is a historic moment for Pakistan. Do not forget that this is the first time a no confidence motion is going to be successful, but not only successful, that it has not been facilitated, that the umpire is neutral, and that they've actually, I can completely vouch for this, that there has been no meddling. It has been left to the political parties to do this. And I think that this is a first as well. I'm extremely, you know, up until yesterday even, I personally had some suspicions and some, you know, paranoia, and I can be forgiven for that trust deficit and paranoia, because we've seen so much in the last 74 years. But I can tell you that this is an absolute win for the democratic process. And particularly, I think that Mian Mohammad Nawaz Sharif must be commended, because this was one of the things, that one of the biggest features of this no confidence motion is the fact that PMLN, Mian Mohammad Nawaz Sharif's party, has the majority in Punjab. The whole target of this whole experiment, this, you know, this lab experience was really to minimize the PMLN's role in Punjab, and that has failed. Tomorrow, we are looking very confident at Hamza Shehbaz winning the vote of confidence and being taken in, or taking the vote for the chief minister in Punjab. And I think this is purely because Mian Mohammad Nawaz Sharif has not compromised. And I'm all for uncompromising. I'm an uncompromising woman myself. And I must say that I think this news has won my vote for Mohammad Nawaz Sharif, because I did feel that if they compromise on another candidate, I wouldn't have been so sure. And you could have trusted me to crack down on them. But I think this is a huge win for not only for the Pakistan People's Party, because they wanted to use the parliamentary system, but I think for Mia Mohammad Nawaz Sharif, because he stayed completely steadfast. And I think a huge lesson for people who want a career in politics, not to use the Lota route or the electable route or the puppet route. So let it be a lesson for all of us.
Yes, it should be. And, for the sake of this region, hostilities between India and Pakistan aside, but stability, security, and a certain level of sanity is required if we are going to be looking at sustenance in this region going forward. A lot of changing across the world. And I was about to ask you about how is it that the establishment has taken a backseat, and you've answered that question yourself. So final words, and we'll conclude, Reham.
So basically, why the establishment or the selectors have backed off is because I think it's not been a good experience for them. And I believe in natural justice. I believe, to borrow a term from India, I think it's karma. And I think that it is definitely karma. And I also believe, I really do believe, in the philosophy of the late Allama Iqbal also, you have to make things happen. You can't expect a knight in shining armor to come and help you. You can't just wait for the green signal. And this is why I said that Mia Mohammad Nawaz Sharif has won my vote today, because I think that the fact that he was unbudging, the fact that his daughter filled in his shoes and showed us resistance. I'm all for people behaving badly. I'm all for defiance. I'm a defiant woman, and here I am. I've not had a party to back me. I've had no finance to back me, but here I am. So I believe in agency. I believe in trusting your agency. And I think that somebody like Shehbaz Sharif, who has a very, very soft-spoken and a very different, completely different personality to Imran, in the sense that he's not vindictive. He's already given a very, very clear message that he will not be going after anyone. I think we need a course correction. This is going to be a very supportive government. I think it's going to be a government where there will be power sharing. And I think that the power sharing has been on a very equal footing. I don't think that this is a loose or a poorly put together coalition. This is not the sort of coalition that the establishment puts together. It is based on genuine share. And I believe in that. And I think for India and Pakistan, I feel that this is actually going to be a really, really good Eid for all of us. I have some certain signals coming out where, business is going to be reviving. And of course, you see, for a very long time, I've believed that the problems that we have with our bordering countries have nothing to do with religion. They have nothing to do with, regional or racial differences. It is all about prosperity. It is economic. And what is the best route to economic prosperity? It is through bilateral trade. It is through respect. Peace is a byproduct of trade, like we saw in the European Union. So if we facilitate that, if we have a respectful relationship based on bilateral trade, I think we will not be having to use any kind of, sloganeering and chest thumping. So I think enough of the identity politics, enough of the Trumps and the Imrans of this world. I think we move forward in a way which is respectful, where there's no room for hate politics. And inshallah, I think it's going to be a really prosperous future, not only for Pakistan, but for the region.
Well, let's hope that too, Reham Khan. It's going to be a very, very interesting next 24 to 48 hours. I thank you very much. I look forward to speaking with you very soon, perhaps in better times. Thank you. Thank you very much.